The resumption of scheduled international flights after a pandemic-induced hiatus of 2 years is a rare hope for the aviation sector and the larger tourism industry. The Indian aviation regulator has approved over 3,200 international departures to 43 countries during the summer schedule. ICRA estimates the international passenger traffic to reach pre-COVID levels in FY24, with Southeast Asia, Middle East, Europe driving demand. Anu Sharma, our aviation correspondent, joins us now. Anu, how are things looking for the aviation sector, the sector opening 2 years after the pandemic began?
Well, that's correct. After a 2-year gap, India has allowed regular international travel and has lifted the ban on scheduled international passenger flights. The government had imposed the ban on March 22nd, 2020 due to the onset of COVID-19. And now, after assessing the current situation, the government has allowed the resumption, with DGCA, the Indian regulator, approving over 3,200 weekly international departures to 43 countries for the summer schedule, which is effective from March 27th until October 29th. 6 Indian airlines have been approved to operate over 1,400 weekly departures to 27 countries, with Indigo eyeing big expansion at 505 weekly flights, followed by Air India at 361 weekly departures, Air India Express at 340 weekly departures. In fact, Indigo aims to resume international flights on over 150 routes through the month of April. In addition, 60 foreign airlines, including Qantas, American Airlines, Salam Air, have been approved, with Emirates at the highest share of 170 weekly departures, followed by Sri Lankan Airlines. If you look at data for March 27, that is the first day of international travel resumption, the incoming traffic improved to 62% of pre-COVID levels and outbound improved to 65% of pre-COVID levels, with vis-a-vis a level of 40 to 50% of pre-COVID levels in the month of February. Commenting on the resumption, rating agency ICRA said that international passenger traffic is likely to see healthy growth of 100 to 105% year-on-year in FY23, but will be able to reach pre-COVID levels in FY24. The demand will be led by Southeast Asia, Middle East, Europe, but certainly the resumption for international flights is expected to accelerate the traffic recovery. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Anu, for joining us, summing up the mood in the aviation sector and what can we expect in the weeks to come. We're joined by Rajeev Mehra, the President of Indian Association of Tour Operators. Mr. Mehra, thank you very much for joining us. 27th of this month, that's when commercial flights were reopened. How does the travel sentiment look like at this juncture?
Well, this was a very heartening news for all of us, which we were demanding from the government that they should lift the ban over this, which they have not done. And I'm quite hopeful with this. The fares will stabilize. This we will see in the next 2 weeks' time when all flights are loaded in the systems of all the airlines. So once that happens, then we will see what is the price band which is going on. Because whether it is inbound tourists or outbound tourists from India, it will all be done. Only will happen when the fares come down. Fares to England were as high as 1 lakh rupees. America is going at 1.5 lakh rupees. They need to be stabilized. I will not say at the March 2020 position, 10% over and above that, no one will mind that, because the aviation fuel has gone up. So far inbound, the other healthier thing which has happened is the opening of the e-tourist visas by the government of India, and the suspension which was there on the larger other visas being removed. But still there's a problem with UK and Canada. We expect a little time more for the tourists to come from there. Similarly, from India, some of the VFS centers are taking some time. But I'm quite hopeful that by this summer, outbound will start, and by about August, September, inbound will start at least till about 40% of what it used to be. And by the end of the year, we should be back there.
Okay, so which are the destinations where you're seeing the highest booking for right now? What are the booking trends that you see currently?
Well, people are wanting to go to England or to Europe, even America. Far East has still not picked up. Dubai is doing, bookings have started. That's why Emirates is, as you were showing, Emirates are putting about 170 flights a week, plus Sri Lankan traffic is also going on. China is shut at the moment. The flights are not operating. Well, that will take some time by the time the government of India decides to do that. But other sectors are open, and these are the trends which we are seeing at the moment. But exactly everything will be known by another 2 weeks' time when the position is more clear vis-a-vis the airfares. It all depends on that.
Right. And in terms of the sentiment right now, because of the high ATF prices, do you think there has been an impact on customer sentiment as well? Do you see a position where customers are wanting to postpone their travel as well?
Definitely, we saw this in March when the fares were very high for UK or Europe or USA. People were saying that they will see it in June, July when the flights resume and the fares come down. Similarly, the trend has been now been noticed in the domestic sector also. That is being noticed here also. Because people are postponing their trips by a week or 10 days because domestic fares are also very high because of the increase in ATF rates.
Right. Overall, what kind of a demand recovery are you expecting over the next few weeks?
As I said earlier, it all depends in about 2 weeks' time on the airfares. If the airfares subside, then definitely for people going out of India this summer, we'll see a lot of increase. It might touch 50% at least what was before. It will never touch 100%. But at the same time, there are people wanting to go to their families in UK, USA, or Europe. That will start traveling. I have people who are wanting to travel once the fare comes down. So fare is the very important aspect at the moment. And I think with these so many airlines coming in, like Virgin Atlantic, 2 weeks of flight, I think from 1st of May or 15th of May. These kind of increase in flights, number of flights, the fares will come down to a reasonably good level and the demand will increase. And if everything is all right, the peak middle May to June outbound sector will see a growth of at least 50% what it used to be in 2019.
Right. Business versus leisure travel, what are the trends currently and what is the trend that you foresee?
Business travel is coming back again out of the VC meetings or Zoom or meeting, whatever you call them. The trend is changing. People are wanting to go abroad. Business travel within India or abroad has increased to a good level. Leisure will take some time because when the corporates have to pay and they have to go for a meeting, the fare doesn't make much of a difference to them unless and until it is very expensive. So business travel is definitely picking up. I have just come back from a South India tour. Flights were jam-packed. Airports were looking like railway stations. And that's all corporate traveling. So it's very important. Businesses started coming back. And leisure will also pick up once fares are down by the summer months, definitely. It will happen.
Right. Right. Any key asks of the government in order to probably ease things for the travel and tourism sector in order to improve the demand recovery?
Well, first of all, we have been requesting the government to lower down the VAT on the aviation ATF so that that aspect is not that high on it. So if ATF is brought down by the central government and the state governments, it will be very healthy for the airlines as such, as the majority part of the it's spent on the fuel. That is one thing. Secondly, to get business into India more, we are requesting that e-tourist visa to be resumed from Canada and UK immediately, which is still held up. So these are some of the things which need to be done. And people like Hong Kong will not pick up so soon. People are still afraid of going to Hong Kong. China has not improved, but Bangkok, Singapore will start. Cruise liners trips, we are seeing inquiries into that coming out from there.
Right. And in terms of ticket prices, what kind of jump have you seen over the last few months as far as ticket prices go, which is going to put a pressure on the consumer as well?
Flight fares were almost double what they used to be in 2019-20 before the pandemic. That was mainly because of lesser bubble operating flights, as well as restrictions on the seating capacity on the aircraft. So there were some restrictions because of that. Now, with that restrictions being over now, totally over now, I think that this should come down, not more than 10% of what 2019-2020 was. And then the sentiments will be all right for the people and will not hit their pockets also, and they will move. They will definitely move. And today, what we are seeing in the domestic market,
All right,
that will come down and people will start traveling internationally.
All right. So let's see how demand recovers from here. Thank you very much, Mr. Mehra, for joining us here on CNBC-TV18 News Center on the resumption of commercial international flights.